June 16, 1987, a small room in Disney's Discovery Island, Florida. A brown and white bird, no bigger than your fist, sits alone in a cage. His name is Orange Band. He's the last of his kind on Earth. A camera is rolling. Scientists know what's coming. They've been watching him grow weaker for weeks. At 8:03 p.m., Orange Band collapses. Within minutes, he's gone. And just like that, an entire species' millions of years of evolution ends. Not in a swamp, not in a forest, but in a Disney theme park. But here's what nobody tells you. This extinction didn't start with Disney. It started with a space program, and a decision made 30 years earlier that nobody thought would matter. This is the story of the Dusky Seaside Sparrow, and the extinction we saw coming but couldn't stop. Let's start with what the Dusky Seaside Sparrow actually was. A small non-migratory songbird, dark streaked plumage, yellowish face, sharp beak, found only in the salt marshes near Titusville and Merritt Island, Florida. Nowhere else on Earth. They weren't flashy. They didn't migrate thousands of miles. They just lived quietly in the cordgrass, feeding on insects, raising chicks in hidden nests just inches above the high tide line. For thousands of years, that was enough. But in the 1950s, something changed. Something massive. Something that would reshape not just the marshes, but the entire trajectory of human civilization. NASA chose Merritt Island as the site for the Kennedy Space Center. And suddenly, this little brown bird was in the way of the moon. Now, here's where the story gets complicated because NASA didn't intentionally destroy the Dusky Seaside Sparrow. In fact, most of their land became a wildlife refuge. The problem was what came with NASA: the infrastructure, the people, the mosquitoes. Here's what nobody anticipated. When you bring thousands of workers to a remote coastal area to build rocket launch pads, you create a problem. Mosquitoes. Swarms were so thick, workers couldn't function. Safety became an issue. Productivity tanked. So in the early 1960s, Brevard County launched an aggressive mosquito control program. The solution? Flood the marshes with water. Permanently sea salt marsh. Mosquitoes breed in temporary pools that dry out between tides. By keeping the marshes flooded year-round, you drown the mosquito larvae. Problem solved, except you also drown everything else. The cordgrass died. The insects that fed on it vanished. The nests built at high tide lines submerged. Entire generations of dusky seaside sparrows drowned before they could fledge. By 1968, the population had collapsed from thousands to hundreds. But nobody noticed, because who was counting sparrows when we were landing on the moon? Then came the second wave: highway construction, St. Johns River, flooding, urban development creeping west from the coast. Each project took a little more marsh, a few more birds. By 1979, biologists counted 13 males. 13. And here's the heartbreaking part. They were all males. No females had been seen in 2 years. But the story doesn't end there. Because someone had an idea, a desperate last-ditch plan to save them. When you only have 13 males left, you have two options: give up, or try something radical. Scientists chose radical. The plan: capture the remaining males, breed them with closely related Scots seaside sparrows from the Gulf Coast, and create a hybrid population. Then, over generations, backbreed them to strengthen the dusky genes. It was controversial. Some scientists called it playing God, others said it was the only option left. In 1980, they captured 5 males. The rest died or couldn't be found. They brought them to Santa Fe Community College's teaching zoo. Then later to Disney's Discovery Island, a small zoological park in Bay Lake, Florida, where Disney kept exotic birds and animals. The breeding program began. Dusky males mated with Scots females. Hybrid chicks were born. But here's where biology turned cruel. The hybrids weren't quite dusky. They carried some genes, but the unique adaptations, the behaviors, the calls, the specific survival traits that made duskies, those were diluted. Some said lost, and as the original males aged, one by one, they died. By 1987, only Orange Band remained, the last pure dusky seaside sparrow on Earth. He lived in a small enclosure. Scientists visited him regularly. They recorded his songs, took feather samples, documented everything, because they knew. When he died, so did the species. Orange Band's death was recorded on video, archived, studied. It's one of the only documented extinctions captured on film from beginning to end. Scientists watched him deteriorate. His breathing slowed, his eyes dimmed, and then nothing. The room was silent except for the hum of equipment. Dr. Herbert Kale, one of the lead researchers, later said, "We knew it was coming. That didn't make it any easier, but here's what makes this story even more tragic. The hybrid program continued for a few more years. Hybrid sparrows lived into the 1990s. They looked sort of like Duskies. They sang sort of like Duskies, but they weren't Duskies. In 1990, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service officially declared the Dusky Seaside Sparrow extinct. The hybrids? They were removed from the endangered species list. Legally, they didn't count. So the question becomes, did we actually try to save the Dusky Seaside Sparrow? Or did we just create a genetic echo that made us feel like we tried? You'd think the Dusky Seaside Sparrow would be a turning point, a wake-up call, and in some ways it was. It led to stronger Endangered Species Act enforcement, more funding for habitat preservation, greater awareness of subspecies-level conservation. But here's the problem. We're still doing the same thing. Florida scrub jays, Miami blue butterflies, key deer, the Florida bonneted bat. The list goes on. All of them confined to tiny, isolated populations. All of them squeezed between highways, theme parks, suburbs, and launch pads. We say we value them, we write plans, we create task forces, but we keep building, keep paving. Because the truth is, it's easy to care about a species when there are thousands. It's easy to care when extinction feels distant and abstract. It's much harder to care when saving them means inconvenience. Delayed construction, lost revenue. The Dusky Seaside Sparrow didn't go extinct because we were evil. It went extinct because we prioritized everything else just a little bit more. Mosquito control over marsh ecology. Highways over habitat. Progress over preservation. Until one day, there was nothing left to preserve. Orange Band's body was preserved taxidermied. He's currently housed in the Smithsonian's National Museum of Natural History, in a drawer with hundreds of other bird specimens. If you visit, you can request to see him. Researchers still study his DNA, his feathers, his bones. Some scientists believe that with modern genetic technology, CRISPR, the extinction techniques, advanced cloning, we could theoretically bring back the Dusky Seaside Sparrow. Take the hybrid descendants, edit in the pure Dusky genes from Orange Band's preserved tissue, and resurrect them. But here's the question nobody can answer. What's the point? The marshes they lived in are gone, flooded, paved, developed. Even if we brought them back, where would they live? Extinction isn't just about genetics. It's about ecosystems, habitats, space, and we've already filled that space with something else. So maybe the real legacy of the Dusky Seaside Sparrow is an Orange Band dying on camera. Maybe it's this. We can't bring back what we pave over. No technology, no matter how advanced, can resurrect a lost world. Only prevent the next one from disappearing. June 16, 1987. A small brown bird dies in a Disney theme park. The cameras stop rolling. The scientists leave. The cage is cleaned out. And somewhere, 30 miles away, rockets still launch from Kennedy Space Center. The moon missions are long over. The Space Shuttle program has come and gone. Now it's Mars. Commercial spaceflight, the stars, and every time a rocket lifts off, it passes over the marshes where the Dusky Seaside Sparrow used to sing. The question isn't whether progress is worth it. The question is, what are we willing to lose in the process? And will we even notice? Until it's gone. Thanks for watching Animal Channel Space. If this story hit you, share it, subscribe, and let's make sure the next generation doesn't have to watch extinctions happen in real time. Because Orange Band deserved better. And so do the species still hanging on.